guys, and welcome to the newest edition of Bored to Death on YouTube again. Guys, the amount of vodka it took me just to get to this point where I got the video camera, the lighting, all that shit set up. You should be giving me a round of applause. This is a golf clap. Actually, a little more than a golf clap. But I've got a great episode for you guys today. I'm just super jacked. I'm so jacked right now. Getting back on the YouTube. A lot of stuff to talk about today. There's never a day that's lacking in that anymore, is there? We've got Joe Biden is taking some steps towards ending Asian hate. Let's hope those steps don't lead up to a plane. Oh, I'm fucking killing it already. Anyways, so there's some stuff I want to talk about today, and we'll kind of get into that in typical Bored to Death fashion. But I was reminiscing recently, and I'm probably going straight to hell. But at this stage, most of us aren't we? When I get there, though, I don't want to lap dance by Lil Nas X, and I don't want to get fucked in the ass by the devil. Which, was it South Park where Saddam Hussein and the devil like did it? That's what that means. Did you and I ever? From Harry Met Sally. Yeah, I aged myself a little there. Swerving out of hell here. I was thinking about the other day how a good bullying used to, be a healthy experience. And when I say that, I know it's not. Don't be weird. Or I suppose I shouldn't be. But how you could, a good bullying would be like, you could go like, I grew up a fat kid. This is what I'm getting at, people. I was a fat kid. I was like 200 pounds in 5th grade, ridiculed constantly. But this is part of the reason why you see what you do before you. I am kidding. That made it sound like this room couldn't hold my ego, which I come to think of it probably barely can. But I digress. You could go as one that would be bullied constantly. Go home, eat my feelings, and cry. I can't help but long for those days again where you could just like hold down a fat kid, poke him and tease him until he cried. And the worst thing that was going to happen was he was going to go into a post office and shoot the place up. Post office shootings were very big when I was growing up. I don't know if they still are, and this is going in a tasteless direction, but you had a 50-50 chance. Either the kid was going to make some massive changes in his life, or he's going to shoot up a post office. What other instance in life is it 50-50? I don't know. A flip of a coin. Maybe going into overtime in a football game. Who knows? But anyways, I don't know why I was thinking about those days. I was probably just reliving some of my own trauma. But anyway, I don't know. I really went off the rails there. Let's see. Let's pull up our notes here. I'm going to try to take as few breaks as possible because I have no idea how to edit any video at all. And I'm probably going to solicit someone to help me for sex. That is probably the only way I'll get any of this done. But so here we go. Let's look into my notes. Let's see. New podcast. This must be it. Or next podcast. Let's see. Yeah. Here we go. Here's some of the notes I was working with. To go back to some of that about the bullying and stuff like that. Like I remember one time in school, like this is when life was rad. Like I remember one time in school, like there was a kid who was fucking with another kid in this courtyard area we had at school. And I punched that kid in the face. Not the one that was getting picked on, but the bully per se. We'll call him the bully. I'll be me, he'll be the bully. And I punched him in the face and I got a high five by a teacher later. Like nowadays, everyone would go to prison for like 10 years for even just thinking about being involved in that act. And it's so odd. Obviously, we're either progressing or regressing. And that's why things like that aren't entirely acceptable anymore. But I think behind closed doors, we can say that kid probably deserved it. Not the kid that got picked on, the kid that got punched. Little Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary. I think that's how it goes. But so anyway, the things that was going on, I get a lot of my stuff through Twitter. It's, I believe, a just massive resource of, I don't know, so many things, but bullshit, probably predominantly. It's like, it's worse than Facebook and Instagram in the aspect that it's just like a barfing of feelings and like instant reactions to like some things. And on social media, obviously that gives us license to not think anything through or think critically before we just like send. And I guilty myself. But it's, yeah, so it gives us license to do that. But all these, like, man, white girl Twitter is unhinged. That's some of the greatest and some of the absolutely ridiculous things I've heard come out of white girl Twitter. Speaking of white people, Chet Hanks and your hashtag white boy summer, that might not take off. I don't know. I'm just I'm calling it here. The odds are against it. Moving along. Well, we'll probably circle around back to that. But so white girl Twitter, some things that I saw on white girl Twitter this week. Or actually, no, I think it's been a couple weeks since I recorded. So, I apologize. But where was I? Come on, Heath. White girl Twitter. Yes. They were talking about the fetishization or fetishizing Asian women on the heels of that atrocious shooting that happened recently. And about how it's like so backwards, and the fetishization of people of different races, yada yada yada, has like a trickle down effect to committing acts of violence against them. Pause. Well, I go back to this summer when I was participating in a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests. The number of signs that I saw white women holding up, or white women posting shit on Twitter again. Stuff like, I love black dick. I'll only take black dick. something, white people are small dick energy, give me the black dick. Basically use your imagination, anything having to do with the black dick, cock strong. So just it's fun. It's funny to think of. It's just funny to think about. It's like, well, there's obviously an evolution of thinking that goes along, but that was that was less than a year ago. So, who knows? And that's not in white girls. I'm not speaking for all y'all. All right. I'm not speaking for all y'all. I'm just saying one thing that is fun to do is to encompass white girl Twitter all in one thing. Just like a bunch of you are going to lump in stupid shit white guys do and, hashtag white boy summer. So it's no different. It's no different. So calm the fuck down. Anyways, so, and fetishizing. So this is a topic I was going to get to at some point. So fetishizing, I don't know where the line is drawn. Like I can talk, I swear. I know what the definition of fetishizing is, but I don't know where, like, it's like a blurred area between like let's say like I'm very attracted to black women. To my knowledge, I don't think it's because I think I've got anything over them, like some sort of power or leverage. I just seem to find a lot of black women attractive. I don't know. Maybe inherently I think they seem stronger or more resilient. Maybe that's those seem like some good traits, but under what I've been reading on, again, a lot of this coming from Twitter, is that would be like a fetishization of black women. And it's just an odd one to me. So if you're and that's the thing. It's like, if attraction is based on something and not because, I suppose there's always a hierarchical, I think I said that right, hierarchical aspect to any sort of relationship. We try to play them, as even as possible, but there's, I guess, some power dynamics come into play regardless. And as we know in personality types, there's alphas, betas, things like that. And there's generally somebody, even if you got two alphas, like, kicking it in a relationship, one of them seems to play that dominant role, and the other one, kind of maybe like secedes a little bit, or maybe that's the wrong choice of words, backs off a little bit and lets the other person run the show, or you take turns, whatever. You role play. So I suppose that goes on in any relationship dynamic, but to say that if one person tends to be more attracted to a race or an ethnicity or something more often than they are to another, that is fetishization, which is like a, illogical obsession with something. That's that would be incorrect. So stop saying everything about, if people like Asian women, if Asian women like white men, if Asian women like black men, if white girls like black men, and vice versa. People, more times than not, it's not a fetishization. It's just people, I don't know. People are attracted to what they want to fuck. And how long have we been bipedal, or I don't know, we're not, how long has it been since Lucy was running around in, sub-Saharan Africa? But so that's been going along since then, and even before then, because obviously we were hitting it even before we were completely bipedal. So that's a lot of time working into that. If that is a problem now, which in some remote instances, I think it probably is. But again, let's not throw everything in there. Like, everything isn't fetishization, or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm fetishizing this microphone right now. I'm fetishizing my whiteboard with, the use of my blue and red ink on it. Felt pen, excuse me, because those give me a tremendous boner. They they don't. But you see what I'm saying? So, and that'll lead me to some other stuff I want to talk about, but I keep on getting these. I have to read some of these text messages to you guys. I get them constantly, and I have no idea where they come from, but most of them read, for instance, this one that just popped up. Girls think that men your age are a joke in bed. Here's the secret that will change. It's 100% off today. Grow big and hard. Here's another one. Hey, you want to hear a secret? This is how porn stars lay wood, last for 4 hours, become instantly hard, and grow it 2 inches. And let's see. Women think you're pathetic in bed. Here's how you grow your dick. I don't know where I get them. They just, here's a new one. Your shaft is falling apart. Oh, no, excuse me. Your shaft is failing you. Women want big and hard. This secret makes women want you. Get rock hard for hours. Claim for free. Blah, blah, blah website. I don't know. Maybe that's an indicator of what websites I'm on. Allegedly. So where was I? I don't know. I'm going to figure out where I am, and not literally. I am here, but figuratively. There's some things I want to go get into. I almost said go off on, which I may very well. But yeah, that I think are sort of related, maybe intertwined in the shit I was just talking about. But give me a minute and we'll be right back.
Oh, you hoe. Get a grip, motherfucker. Yeah, this album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from, that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. And all the niggas in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Hey guys, I'm back. It's like a delayed. I'm like looking at the recording. I'm like, hey guys, just to make sure it pops up. But yes, alas, I am back. So where did I leave off? I say and all the time. I'm gonna phase that out of the podcast. It's all part of my growth. But I did it again. Was talking about fetishization. Kind of tap danced on it a little bit, not around it, on it a little bit, and wanted to go into some other things that, because like everything's about race now, right? Or at least that's what we're told, and perhaps it is. I'm not I'm not denying that as a possibility. But because to say that everything's about race now would probably be a misnomer. In the fact that everything has probably always been about race in some matter or aspect of I don't know, whatever context it's being used in. Um, but speaking of the fetishization of Asian women, which what apparently led to that shooting, that wanted me to that led me, that led me to want to have I don't know, a short slash long discussion about the relevance of reporting race in crimes. And you may think to yourself right off the bat that of course it's relevant, and I would agree with you if on these conditions I agree that it is beyond a reasonable doubt that those crimes are committed, that those crimes are, excuse me, that beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt that those are crimes of hate crimes. They're I don't know if lusting after an Asian woman constitutes that. It's a heinous crime. It's horrendous. It's fucked up beyond what I can verbalize. My vocabulary isn't good enough to express how fucked up it is, so I won't do you the disservice of trying to. But outside of a racial context, wouldn't that normally be considered something? And granted, my knowledge of legalities is limited to an aspect. I will brag a little bit here. I have been taking the one of the great courses on Audible, Law School for Everybody, which does not make me a lawyer, and it reminds me of that after every lecture. It says you are not as smart as these people, so don't try to represent yourself or blah blah blah. You're an idiot, and I was like, yes, I am. But that crime seemed to fit more of like a bill of like a what it seems like up to that point, or maybe up into the last few years, would have been characterized as something like a crime of passion or something like that. And I guess it might be a poor example, but if a white man and a white woman were married and the husband came home and saw her and she was cheating on him and walked in on her fucking another guy, and that guy happened to be of a different race, and in sort of normal, this is a pretty basic example of a crime of passion. The male shot and killed the other male, or shot and killed both of them. Would that be a hate crime? Would that be necessary to, I guess, make it a point that one person was white and one person is black? I suppose in some aspect it would be, because you want to rule out a hate crime as a possibility. However, when the media jumps the gun on that and says, you need this information to make a decision as a private citizen in the courtroom of social media, with a heavy bias on the reporting of, like, you should take into consideration that this guy is white and this guy's black, or this person's Asian and this person's black in your decision making, when really that might be the most minor of details that culminated in this crime being committed. So that's I may be reading everything wrong, that is, I'm never gonna stand up on a soapbox and say like I'm right and pound my fucking chest. But that's kind of how I see it. I don't see the relevance completely, and in addition to that, if they are, if it is going to be reported, and I'm not sure what criteria is being used, or what criteria are being used to determine whether or not that work makes it into a story or not. I've never been a news reporter, in any aspect, print or any other kind of multimedia. This is, unless that's what you consider me now, but and don't do that. You're better than that. But I'm, like I said, I'm not sure what criteria works its way into determining that. But to a private citizen such as myself, obviously I can think critically, and so can everybody else. If we take that, quick timeout and take a step back from a situation. But what, and this is gonna, and I want to phrase this carefully because I don't want it to come off, because I know it's so easy for anyone listening that already has a certain viewpoint or something to be like, oh, you're just a white apologist, or you're just some easily offended snowflake white guy that can't take a little criticism, or can't deal with his own racism or something like that. And I know by at this stage, if you've ever listened to Bored to Death, if you're a first time listener, welcome. And thank you for giving us a try. But you should know by now that I own all that. I own all that repeatedly. And that's something I kind of wear, right or wrong. It's something I kind of wear as a badge of honor, is owning my shit. And it wouldn't be a badge of honor if a lot more of you did it. So, not to make myself sound like super cool and awesome, but a lot of you don't. A lot of you, it's like you're the fucking fastest guns in the West to point the finger at something else or make an excuse for something, anything. Not all of you, but a lot of you. A lot of you, I don't know the exact percentage, but it constitutes a lot, but a lot. You know who you are, and a lot of you know who I'm talking about. But so when I read a story such as like down in Miami Beach on spring break, when a white woman who was drugged by two African-American men and ended up dead on a beach. Again, that crime, I don't think was racially motivated, and seems to fit in those could have very easily been two white dudes that drugged a college student, and this said college student ends up dead on the beach the next morning. That the race in that aspect has just as much relevance, in my point of view, as the shooting in those Asian massage parlors. And then going on to this, the most recent one, the two black young girls, teenagers, who seemingly, and if I'm getting this wrong, somebody correct me, because what I know of it is what I've based my opinion on, and I've looked into it a little bit, but sometimes I miss things and I could be wrong. The two black teenage girls, I think ages 13 and 15, called up an Uber Eats order and premeditated to tase him and steal his money or the food. It's said heist is probably a wrong choice of words, but I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing at myself, but it went horribly wrong. The guy apparently was falling out of the car when they tried to race off with it, and the car flipped and the guy died. He happened to be I believe a 70-year-old Pakistani man or East Indian, something along those lines. Race doesn't seem to be a motivator in that, but just like the other ones, but somehow the naming of one race versus the other as a headline and spreading like wildfire through social media, for some reason doesn't capture the same relevance as a crime committed by a white person against another race. And we'll go on again to our next one, the Colorado shooting, which was a Syrian immigrant, a Muslim, who opened fire and I believe killed 10 people. But that leaves it out of the headlines because we're worried about having any connotations with that being tied to Islamophobia and things of that nature. And the pictures that were put in the media conveniently made this guy look as white as they possibly could. That's how I saw it. This, I would be full of shit if I didn't say that there is bias that works its way into some of my thought processes. If not all of them, they work their way into yours too. So let's not pretend that that doesn't happen. But when we see two things side by side, it smells like a duck, looks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's either a duck or it isn't. I don't know. Probably a dumb example, but you see two crimes side by side where different races are involved. It seems irresponsible to me to make it an emphasis whenever a mass shooting or something of that nature occurs and the person just happens to be white, or jumping to conclusions that said action was racially motivated, hate motivated, whether it was against someone of a different sex, gender, sexual orientation, what have you. There was an example that was kind of floating around in my head. I hope I didn't lose it. I really should have wrote it down. I should write down a lot of things. Hold on a second while I take a drink. I gotta work, get my train of thought back. Oh yeah. I'm not discounting the possibility that any and all of those things could have been racially motivated, could be hate crimes. It's all possible. It's all possible. There's been a number of shootings. I think I mentioned on a few episodes back, there's been shootings on army bases, where the person has happened to be of Middle Eastern descent or African American. And that was never relevant into why the shooting occurred or at least in the investigation of said incident, that being a relevant point never made it up to the media level. It may have been discussed in the investigation, which again is probably is a responsible thing to do on the investigative floor to rule something out as a hate crime. But let's face the reality here. We live in a very multi-ethnic, multi-race, multi-religion, multi-gender, a cornucopia of sexual preferences. So the possibility of a crime of coincidence happening increases exponentially. And the possibility of it being a crime of coincidence, and when I say coincidence, I mean this person did this to this person, and this guy just happened to be this, and this guy or girl, choose whatever gender you want, just happened to be this. So it is a crime that just, quote, occurred, as opposed to one race doing something unto another for the sheer fact that they were a different race, or there was, generally there's a hierarchy thing that plays into it too. You commit a crime or an act of violence or abuse against somebody you view as lower than you. So that's that's my opinion. I've got some other opinions on stuff like that, but I just wanted to discuss that a bit. And I'm not saying anything definitively, but I think in the process of critical thinking, we've got to take a step back and look big picture and not just kind of go down this direction because it seems like the right thing to do. And let me be frank. We do need to stop perpetuating hate against Asians, blacks, and Asians, I encompass, people of, East Indian descent, things like that, Africans, what have you, gays, transgendered folks. We need to stop committing acts of hate against them. I am of the mind that the people who are committing acts of hate are a very, very small minority. That, and here's another thing. Not everybody's going to love and like everybody. And expecting that to be a reality is silly, really. It's kind of how we're told over and over again. You can't please everybody, and you can't. You can't. It's impossible. And so there are going to be plenty of people that don't like black people, that don't like Asians, that don't like transgenders, that don't like gays, that don't like me, don't like you, don't like your mom, stuff like that. But that dislike is never going to masticize itself as an act of violence. We go around all day, every day, not liking certain things, and we don't burn it to the ground or tear it up and, crash out windows or things like that. Right? And I'm right. We don't. We go along every day not liking certain things, and we don't try to destroy it. So there's always going to be a faction of people or factions of people that dislike certain races for whatever reason, dislike certain religions for whatever reason, dislike certain genders or sexual preferences for whatever reason. But they'll put on a nice face if they meet that person face to face. And then when they go, they'll talk shit behind your back, just like you talk shit behind somebody else's back. Nobody's perfect. Those people, the grand majority of them will just go on being bitter and stupid and will never commit an active, never actively commit an act of hate. So we're talking about a minority here. Does that mean it's less important and we need to don't need to snuff that out? Of course we need to snuff it out. But let's not pretend like this is some massive faction that's conspiring for this, that, or the other thing. No more than any other group is conspiring for whatever they want. Okay? Again, my personal opinion, you can write me off as a white apologist, being racially biased and stuff like that. I acknowledge those as possibilities. I acknowledge that any and all of that works its way into my decision making. I said that already, but I feel like I need to repeat that. But I would ask a favor, and this isn't a but I would ask you a favor to work all of those same possibilities in how you view the world, wide lens. Because we all need to take in all of our biases and what affects our decision making, how we're seeing something. Am I just seeing this as Heath Evans, the white guy, or am I seeing this as Heath Evans, the human of Earth? So just things to consider. But and this is kind of a strange one. And again, I don't know if it has any relevance, but it's something I've been thinking about, is, and when I saw the steps, and again, kudos to, Joe, he can't walk up a flight of stairs, but he's trying to end hate, which good. Kudos to him for making steps towards that and making an effort towards that. I just had a stroke. Oh shit. What was I going to say? Oh, don't walk away, boy. Don't walk away from me. It'll come. Come on, Schwartz. Come on, Schwartz. Don't leave me. Oh, here. Yeah. God, my memory is actually quite good today. I mean, it's piss poor, but comparatively, it's quite good. So again, when I saw these headlines about the steps we're taking to end Asian hate, and there's an acronym I've seen pop up. I don't want to make you guys wait while I look that up, but hold on, pause while I take a drink. Something, it just got me thinking. Behaviors are learned, right? We can all agree on that. Behaviors are learned over and over and over again by repetitive actions. We learn the steps of the order of operations in mathematics. Steps in problem solving. We have things embedded within us through years and years of information or disinformation. I'll just refer to that just to keep it general and easy to understand as propaganda. So we're propagandized. I don't know if that works. We are inundated with propaganda. How about that? So like any other behavior that is embedded over time, like let's say you grow up in a house where uh, either your mom or dad had something bad happen to them or committed unto them by the opposite sex. And so they have a bias, inherent distrust of men and or women because of that. And that is embedded into your children over years and years and years. And that masticizes itself as you being in horrible relationships and going through tons and tons of therapy. Um, is this starting to sound biographical? Perhaps, but that's besides the point. Um, but you see where I'm going. So that's those things are learned, and things like racism is learned. We have, since I can remember, and this might be a massively general thing to say, and again, I could be completely inaccurate, but the propaganda machine that is the United States and lots of other countries has embedded into us since our secession from the United Kingdom, England, Great Britain, the British Empire, since our secession from the English, that anything but, anything that doesn't bleed red, white, and blue, anything that is not American is in turn, by definition, anti-American and inferior. So we've had this propaganda machine all through, and it probably reared its ugly head the most historically, through World War II. And a lot of that propaganda all of that propaganda was centered against Germans and the Japanese. People would clump in every Asian group they could because Joe Blow can't, and I'm the same, and I can't tell the difference between what race or what region somebody is. Like, if I see a white guy, I can't be like, well, he's an Italian American, or he must be like Slavic or something like that. Just like I couldn't look at two different Asians and tell which one is Korean, which one's Japanese, and which one's Chinese. It's not racist. It's not a matter of race. It's just a fact that I don't know. So I don't make that assumption. So we've had this ingrained into us for a long time. And I'm not painting this picture to create some grandiose excuse for what's going on. But we must have a reckoning with the truth, and we must have a reckoning with facts so we can make an educated judgment of, okay, how long is this going to take? And because we made so many steps in one direction for so long, how many steps is it going to take to get out of that, to unlearn that propaganda that we have been surrounded by? And we still see it today. We still see that propaganda today. I see tons and tons of people, wearing hats or shirts, or, have bumper stickers that say patriot. The word patriot has got to be one of the most nuanced words ever in the history of fucking words. Because the sheer act of saying one is a patriot because of what you believe and what you do and what you say, that sheer act is to say that someone that does not follow the exact same things you do is not a patriot. Two people can believe that they love their country and they want to protect freedoms and things like that, but because one goes about it a different way, I'm gonna tell all you quote unquote patriots out there, that doesn't make you any more fucking patriotic than them. Okay. So, congratulations. You're pro-America, stuff like that. So am I. We've got some work to do, but a lot of people that are very critical and judgmental and harsh and want this system to change, they're just as fucking patriotic as you are. So when you walk around wearing that hat, throwing that bumper sticker, flying your flag and stuff like that, you're the same person. You're the same person. Okay? That's one of the things that just annoys me, and it is what got me thinking about that was Christopher Ryan, great author. If any of you guys have read his books or considered reading his books, "Sex at Dawn," "Civilized to Death," are some just two examples. Incredible reads. Chris made a statement that I had to think on for some time, and at first blush, I almost, and I hate even saying it. I was kind of offended in a weird way, and I'll explain. And the statement was, and I think it's probably because I use this statement often to motivate myself, keep me going forward, and I love motivating other people, and it's a statement I use to what I think is helping them also. And the statement is, quote, "We will make it through this." And Chris went on to say, the statement, "I will make it through this," is to deny the existence of those that won't. And at first I took exception to that. But he's right. He's right. By definition, I will make it through this, but some people won't. And that statement sort of speaks them out of existence. Just like the statement that says, "I am a patriot because of this," speaks other patriots out of existence for a completely ludicrous reason. So anyway, something to think about. Besides that, like, I don't know. I think the last thing I was going to talk about was try to keep on stuff that's I don't know, been in the news and stuff like that. The Lil Nas X video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, the music video. First, I will admit, not a fan of Lil Nas X's music. It has nothing to do with him as a person. It just has everything to do with my taste in music. A lot of people I've talked to, a lot of shit I've seen on Twitter. I think the governor of North Dakota was like, "We are in a fight for our souls as a nation." Our nation never had a fucking soul. Come on. If our nation had a soul, half the 90% of the shit we've done would have never occurred. So lady, whatever your name is, shut the hell up. Anyways, we're not in a battle for our souls. We're not. Okay, you heard it here first. Not in a battle for our souls. Your soul is fine. It's fine right where it is, wherever it is. If it's even there, it's fine. So it's created a lot of controversy. It culminates. It's kind of, if you've been living in a cardboard box somewhere, I don't know, in a hole, I'll just walk you through it. It starts out in some, rendition of the Garden of Eden, some rendition or interpretation of the Garden of Eden. It goes along through, I don't know, this journey that Lil Nas X is going on, and it culminates in him going down to hell, giving the devil a lap dance, and breaking his neck, and then taking off his horns and putting them on. And to kind of go along with the music video, he made some. I kind of think it's pretty cool, actually. These custom Nike Airs that have actual the company that they bought all the Air Maxes and then they customized them, which is a pretty common thing. Nike's been getting a lot of flack, like, you should have just said no. Well, people do this all the time. They buy a brand shoes and then they customize them. You see it on the NFL all the time. My cleats, my cause. But maybe you think those are wrong too. I don't know. But so this custom streetwear company purchased, I believe, 666 of these shoes, and that's a reoccurring theme. I think he calls them, or they're being referred to as the quote devil shoes. But anyway, so it caused all this controversy with Nike and stuff like that. And it's like, guys, this shit happens all the time. People customize shoes. It's pretty easy. You just don't need to buy them, which a lot of us aren't going to be in a tax bracket that would afford us to anyways, because I think they retailed for like $1,100. And if you know anything about those, they'll like sell for that. Someone will buy them, and then someone will resell them for probably like 6 or 7, 10 times that. Who the fuck knows? Yay, capitalism. So it's causing all this controversy, and in all through existence, there has been people that push the envelope, and whether we agree with it or not, it's going to continue to happen. Black musicians at the turn of the century, jazz music, the blues. Oh man, those were, whoo, it's so scary back then. Elvis fucking Presley. Anyone moving their hips like that was dangerous. Madonna in the 80s, man, like she was, the Justify My Love video, Truth or Dare, Like a Prayer, Like a Virgin, Papa Don't Preach. She's got a ton. And good for her, but people are always going to be pushing that envelope. And it's kind of like when you keep doing better at one thing or another. And hold on a second, my dog just came in. I need to pet him because he is so fucking cute. Jet, hey buddy, you gonna stay down there? All right, okay. But people are always pushing that envelope, and it's just like when we're trying to get better. When you want to raise that ceiling of success, you don't know where that ceiling is until you crash through it, right? Just like we don't know, in pushing the envelope, we don't know how far that can be pushed unless we keep pushing it. And that, whether it succeeds or fails, will kind of be like the telltale of wherever society is, that will be like, okay, you finally went over the line. That's too much. Or, yeah, that was close. It's actually kind of cool. And then everything sort of uses that as a new, the new litmus test, the new barometer of where, that gray nuanced area is of going over the line. And then that's where, artists or, musicians, what have you, start to live. And then that gets pushed out a little further and a little further and a little further. And newsflash, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Pushing the creative envelope is a good thing. Whether or not you think it's appropriate or cool or not, I don't give a fuck. I'll just be honest with you. It's pushing the envelope. And that's kind of what I try to do in small increments with Bored to Death. So if you don't like that, then I guess you don't like this show either. But anyways, we'll both live. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. Again, I hope this recording comes out. I'm really looking forward to get back on YouTube. You guys fucking rock. Love you. Mwah.